A very warm welcome to you as you join us on today's episode of Tax Matters. My name is Olumuyiwa Matuluko. How was your long Eid holiday? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We hope that you had a restful time. And for those who went back to the roots to see their kith and kin, we hope all is well. How is Papa? How is Mama? We think it is still in order to wish all Nigerians happy Eid al-Fitr. Yes, all Nigerians, because under God, we are all one. And every celebration that makes you alive, you have to be grateful to God for. If you are an avid viewer of Tax Matters, 4 episodes ago, we brought you the proceedings of a workshop organized by the Medium Tax Office of the FIRS in Lagos Mainland in Lagos. There are 2 MTOs in Lagos, Lagos Island and Lagos Mainland. The workshop was held on Monday, the 26th of May, 2014. Theme was the roles of the tax professional in enthroning voluntary tax compliance, and of course the rights, the duties and obligations of the taxpayer. On that episode, we brought you excerpts from the 2 papers that were presented to kickstart the interactive session.
Tax compliance is absolutely the responsibility of the taxpayer. No matter whom you have appointed to do it for you, whether a friend, whether a consultant, whether a bank, until it is discharged, you have not discharged your obligation. But you also have a choice of not doing it personally. You can seek the help of specialists who understand, who have better understanding of the requirements of the law. When you don't have that expertise to do it, you may not have a choice than to get a tax professional. So you are advised to get one. Now, how can the tax professional now add value to the taxpayer? A smart tax professional will ensure that his client files his returns timely. Your tax professional can also advise you on the disclosures that you need to make, necessary disclosures that you need to make in your returns.
My job is just simple, it's just to highlight some of your rights and obligations. The taxpayers have the right to tax information. Right of confidentiality, secrecy, and privacy. It is your right for us not to disclose any information that we get from you in the course of trying to resolve tax matters. Taxpayers have the right to assess themselves with the right tax and pay, or not before the due date. Right to choose and appoint tax representative. This is at the discretion of the taxpayers. Tax will be granted refund for excess payment of tax made by taxpayers. Right to objection and appeal to tax assessment. Another right is right to be issued tax clearance. This one is your right. Now, having said that, if you give somebody rights, they have the right, then there must be certain obligations you must also do. Those that you don't go with the right alone. One of them is honesty. That is, whenever you are filling your tax form, or any dealings that you are having with the tax authority, I won't limit it to Federal Land Revenue alone, the tax authority in general, you must be honest.
Because they were very incisive, we played excerpts of the prepared presentations throughout that episode, leaving no room for the interactive session that followed. That interactive session, that question and answer, that exchange of ideas is what today's episode of the program is all about.
And my question is in regards of tax returns, and particularly is on VAT. The nature of our job, mainly we work for government, and the way it works is VAT is deducted at source. So lately, anytime we want to do filing, they will tell us that it's either we attach our invoice or we attach the receipt so that our jurisdiction will know that this is the VAT that has been deducted. But I can say that with the nature of government's job and all that, it is not every month they pay us. Maybe in a year contract, maybe you are paid just once or twice in a year. So how do we go about that? Because my own jurisdiction is telling us that they will not take new returns. that we have to fill our VAT returns, including our turnover and our VAT. So does it mean that I have to be looking for invoice every month to attach to my returns, or I can continuously do my new returns knowing that I'm working for government? Then another one, sir. My company is an IT firm, and my question goes in regards to NITDA, that 1% before tax. And in the law, because the presenter has been saying laws. On that law, it's not clearly stated on the IT firms or who to pay NITDA. But anytime we want to, because that's always delays at TCC, they will tell us, I'm an IT firm, so thereby I have to pay that 1%. But in that law, it's saying internet provider. I'm an IT firm, but I am not an internet provider. I provide solutions to government. So how do we clarify that? Because it has always been an issue, paying that 1%, and knowing fully well having a large turnover is a lot for me as a company, because I can always save that.
On the area of VAT, we discovered that I have a client. When we look at the VAT, giving an example, if the turnover, let's say the turnover is 100 million, we expect 5% of this, which is about 5 million, to be paid at VAT. But when we worked the whole thing, we discovered that this man had paid about 9 million for VAT. This is how it comes about. One, taking contract from the state, VAT is being deducted at source. Then, in the process of buying some materials, he paid VAT again. Now, when we now table this thing, the question is that how would someone pay VAT more than it? Because you look at the ratio, you are paid 9 million, and the turnover is 100 million. So that means you have an excess VAT paid. Will this money be refunded by the FIRS, or how do we go about it?
Authority will request from the taxpayer to bring the hard copy credit, whereas the credit note is already in the web portal of the FIRS.
On withholding taxes, we have taxpayers. They have transactions with like third parties that do not have TIN, but they have withheld and I would like to remit. But there is no TIN from the other party. So is there any mechanism that if FIRS can look into to enable them remit the withholding tax and not be exposed for that?
And then little pieces of advice.
Bankers, I'm very sorry if they are in this hall, they are doing a lot of havoc to we tax professionals. For instance, you advise your client to pay taxes. They will just ask their bankers to pay. What you discover that the taxes meant for NIDEF, they will go and pay to education tax. The one for CIT, they will pay to another form of taxes. Then the year of assessment, instead of putting, let's say, 2014 year of assessment, they will indicate 2013. So it now become a problem with the tax consultant to see the years where the payments were actually made. Therefore, what you are organizing for we tax professionals and taxpayers, you need to do it to the bankers as well. Then finally, the areas of this web portal is an issue that we are having problem with. If you cannot give tax consultant an avenue to have it, you should give taxpayers the view to view what they have in their own web portals. Because in most cases, even some of these, occasionally they used to pay wrongly to client web portal. If they don't have access to it, the revenue will be thinking that this is the turnover of this particular client. Let taxpayers to have view access to the web portal to let them know what they have in their records.
Let's take some of the responses from the top table.
No team for the other party. When should there be? You see, your question, what you are saying is that you want to pay withholding tax, and there is no team for the beneficiary. Let me ask you this question: why should there be no team for the beneficiary? Which kind of job? In fact, it means that you've done something wrongly there. That is it. Go and look at it. And go now. Everybody that is having bank account should get in. It means by the time you are awarding that contract, you've not done it perfectly. Otherwise, there should be tin. However, we at FIRS, we realize that challenge may be there. If you go to any tax office for a situation like that, we've made a provision, and that so that it will not affect you.
Now, sorry, madam. I no say for my name.
I don't check in no day. After all my wahala, these people still no register me.
Haba, I put on 14.
Tingini. Wetin concern tin tomato for inside this matter wey we dey talk now?
Eva, explain for am 14.
Madam, taxpayers identification number TIN, a special number for all correct taxpayers. E dey compulsory if you wan register and do business with government. Without TIN, you no go fit do business.
Abeg, na how much I go pay to collect this thing?
Madam, I get am 14 free.
Madam, take your certificate of incorporation to FIRS office, fill the form, and you go get am one time.
Just like that? Abeg, make I dey go, make I go collect my own thing.
TIN na free o, na for everybody. Na your correct identity. FIRS, it pays to pay your tax.
Source deduction. Yes. I've always said it to taxpayers that look, you do not appoint those agents. You didn't appoint an oil company to deduct at source. You did not appoint somebody to deduct your withholding tax at source. The Federal Inland Revenue Service or the tax authority made that appointment. Your own job stops at complying. If that guy has deducted, when you are rendering your returns, all you need to do is to provide information. When you fill your VAT, you say source deduction, 30 million. You are not helping me if you do not provide a schedule. Just mere schedule. It may be bulky such that you won't be able to provide all your invoices. After all, I have the authority to ask for further information. If I want to ask you to justify that, or if I want to come to your office to do that, I can always come and do that. But if you must give me a list, at least that's the minimum. If you can also furnish the invoices, related invoices, very beautiful. But you must give at least the minimum by saying, look, this 30 million I've claimed as source deduction, this is the makeup. It is not your business for that guy to remit. If any tax office is asking you, go and make sure that guy has not remitted, because of that I'm going to deal with you. You report the person to the appropriate authority. No tax office has that this thing to hold you liable for that. Your own is give information about that deduction, and you must be treated well. On it that I did say that there should be advanced ruling. The proper thing for a taxpayer or a tax professional to do is that when you see a gray area that has not been addressed by circular, it's not even good for you to put your taxpayer at risk. You should know the risk that you are taking. If you on your own, you sit down and you just make judgment, and then 2-3 years later, that judgment is ruled against you or against your tax or against your client, you will look bad if you are a tax professional. If you are a taxpayer, you pay additional this thing, you pay more. So if there is a gray area, you can always write either to the office. If the office is not able to treat it, we have a tax policy department in Abuja. It will be sent to the tax policy department, and a ruling, I assure you, a ruling will be given. When you make payment in a bank, and maybe a banker has come to your office or your tax consultant for your VAT returns, and you give him the check, give him your papers. He's interested in that money, particularly a banker. Maybe he's interested in the money alone. When he gets to the office, he keys in the money. Your paper, he puts it in the trash bin. Or in the locker, he locks it up. I don't have time now. I have to chase another person. I have to chase some other checks. Due date, he has not submitted. The law on returns is clear. What makes up a return? As far as the tax inspector is concerned, looking at his web portal, seeing that you have paid, you have not concluded your obligations under the law until he receives the papers, because he doesn't know what it's all about. How is he going to do return processing? That's what we call returns processing, because he has to process that return. That payment alone that is in the web portal is not adequate for him to do his job. So please, when you ask somebody to discharge a tax obligation for you, you also need to put in place controls to ensure that that function has not only been discharged, but has been fully discharged. We will keep on doing sensitization. But I then advise again, taxpayers, be careful, don't be carried away by bankers when they come. You still have the sole responsibility. I keep saying it. The responsibility to comply with tax obligations is yours. If you decide to use anybody, if that person fails you, he has failed you, and you only. Access to web portal. I want to inform you that there is a solution that is being deployed now. And in fact, it's been deployed in some of our LATAS offices, though not yet fully functional. And that's our integrated tax administration system. When it is done, when it is fully done, taxpayers will have accounts, just like we have accounts in our banks. And just as to do internet banking, when we have accounts in banks, we will also be able, that's the taxpayers, we will be given access to our accounts, limited access, I must say. But you can view your account, view your balances, view certain things. You'll be able to submit your tax returns online without necessarily coming to the office to do that. You'll be able to see how much withholding tax credits you have on the system and all that. But I don't think it is going to be given to the tax professional. Somebody mentioned that, look, there are source deductions, of course we know, and you now have input tax. You are not, maybe the output tax you have is not enough to absorb the input VAT, the input VAT. We do see that. But fortunately, we now have what I can call a working default mechanism. If you know you have genuine transactions, you have genuine refund, apply to your office. The office will send it to Abuja. We have a tax revenue department. You must also cooperate in the verification.
We'll go on a short break. When we return, more questions, more answers. The program is Tax Matters.
Every day, my people dey for work. Some dey do office work. Some get them own business. So all of them want good road, constant power for better life. Whether now office work, oh yeah, pay your tax. Whether now your own business, oh pay your tax. If you want a better life, oh pay your tax. Now your civic responsibility, pay your tax. Better soup, now money cook am oh. Oh yes. Nothing goes for nothing, my brother. If you want potable water, security and hospital for make life jolly.
That's right. Good roads, good hospitals, portable water, adequate security all come from taxpayers' money. Play your part in making Nigeria great. Everybody, small scale, big companies, entrepreneurs, do the right thing. Pay your tax. This message is from the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS.
Welcome once again. What we are doing on today's episode of Tax Matters is to share with you the proceedings of the interactive session that formed a major part of the workshop organized by the Medium Tax Office of the FIRS, Lagos Mainland, in Lagos on the 26th of May 2014. This is hoping that some of the issues thrown up at that workshop are the same issues agitating your minds.
My question borders on withholding tax. I want to cite an example. Recently, a letter was served from FIRS to my clients that they have CIT to pay that they are owing the Federal Inland Revenue Service, and the client has been offsetting their CIT liability through withholding tax credit notes. We had to go to the tax office and check, just to find out that all the withholding tax credit notes that we have been submitting on behalf of the client with schedules will list all the withholding tax credit notes and also attach the credit notes to it. Some of them are disregarded. They are not posted into the K card. So when I asked one of the officers, they said it's because they are manual. They only take the electronic ones that And you are talking of huge amounts there. Why would they disregard the manual ones? These things are issued by FIRS and you are now disregarding it.
I have an issue with this tax identification number. You always find in the papers, the Joint Tax Board or the Federal Inland Revenue will ask you and register for your tax identification number. But I make my payments in Lagos because I pay my payee to Lagos State, and they have given me a tax identification number. How do I relate with FIRS again when FIRS is now saying I should go and get a tax identification number? How do you marry the two together?
Again, more answers, more responses. And in this segment, the first one is on the demand by FIRS officials for the hard copies of withholding tax credit notes issued to taxpayers.
We are requesting for hard copy of withholding tax, whereas our web portal is already there. Yeah, it is an issue because how do we verify? Currently, we have our web portal, but you agree with me. Some of you have even raised it here that there are issues when certain payment is another one. Assuming your payment is the other side, another company's own, and you are holding it, we don't have anything to verify from your side, which is your hard copy. We're only requesting for that copy to say, oh, you are having it. Then we look at it, it's there. But I've seen instances where a huge amount of money that doesn't belong to another person is there. So these are the issues we are looking at it. But going forward, your fear is already being solved. Our ITAS will take care of everything.
And on withholding tax credit notes manually issued in the days prior to the emergence of the web portal.
Withholding tax brought forward before the web portal. This is it. I've said it earlier. Until when the ITAS come on, that we are using ITAS fully, it is then we now stop the idea of asking you to bring withholding tax credit. Hard copy. Some of the withholding tax that we are bringing is before our web portal. The officer in charge, you have to verify. The way we verify is that they've given you, for example, in Port Harcourt, we have to write a letter to Port Harcourt to verify. Because you all agree that the essence of FRS going fully into technology to ensure that we serve you right is to avoid fake things. We are not saying that what we are holding is fake, but we want to be careful. Because FRS as of today, all money is going to the government account. And withholding tax is also money on its own. The one you brought, which is manual, will write those tax office in charge so that they verify. If they verify, the credit is to your own account. But the one that you are having now, we use it because withholding tax is money. If it is 1 kobo, look at your tax clearance that you are holding. We still put the evidence there. If you look at it, even putting the receipt number. So this is a way of making sure that everything is clearly done in the right way. But manual, it has to be verified until we get our ITAS fully in place.
On the status of taxpayer identification numbers issued by state revenue authorities vis-a-vis the FIRS TIN and the nationwide TIN project being driven by the Joint Tax Board.
Presently, JTB now issues TIN, and the various states Board of Internal Revenue are also campaigning that they also have their TIN. Now, one thing I want us to realize is that JTB, although it's not a tax authority, but it has the responsibility to ensure uniformity. And the TIN project, to which all the states in the Federation and Federal Land Revenue Service signed into, will ultimately take the position of the TIN that each tax authorities are issuing. The process has started. Majority of the states have started issuing the JTB TIN, but until all the states actually migrate into the TIN platform, I think this issue of the states issuing TIN, JTB also issuing TIN, will continue. But the most important thing is that JTB team will ultimately take the position of the team that is taxpayer identification number system in the tax arena nationwide very soon. Very soon, it will become mandatory for all taxpayers in the country to use the JTB team to transact their tax business.
We do hope that once again, in our own little way, we have been able to further enlighten you about the workings of the Nigerian tax system. We do hope that some of the issues thrown up at that interactive session are those that are agitating your minds. If you have enjoyed this episode, let's do it again next week on this same session, same day of the week, same time of the day. Have a blessed week ahead.